Welcome back to The Explainer. If you're a focused learner gearing up for university exams or maybe preparing for a really tough technical interview case study, well, you've just found your ultimate cheat code. Today, I'm thrilled to guide you through a complete masterclass on a seriously essential tech process. I like to think of it like a massive digital relocation. Moving from an old, clunky legacy house into a brand new, ultra-modern smart home. We're going to unpack the comprehensive 7-step model of cloud migration. So to make this incredibly complex process easy to grasp, we're going to logically group those core 7 steps into 4 totally manageable phases. We've got Phase 1, assess and strategize, Phase 2, select and plan, Phase 3, migrate the workload, and finally, Phase 4, validate and optimize. But before we even think about packing our digital boxes, we really have to ask, what actually happens if you just blindly move a 1990s legacy app straight to the cloud? The short answer? Absolute disaster. The stakes here are remarkably high. If this migration isn't meticulously planned out, you're risking crashing active systems, corrupting vital data, and completely alienating your user base. And let's be real, users today, they won't wait around for you to fix it. They're just going to jump ship right to your competitors. All right, let's dive right into the solution. Industry experts rely on a highly standardized 7-step framework to make sure all your digital assets, the data, back-end code, front-end interfaces, the whole shebang, transition seamlessly. The steps are assess environment, define strategy, select provider, plan migration, migrate workload, validate, and optimize. Okay, kicking things off with Phase 1, assess and strategize. Long before a single byte of data moves anywhere, we absolutely must evaluate what we're working with. And here are our first 2 actions. Step 1 is to assess the current environment. Basically, avoid the rush. You can't just dive in blind. You really have to evaluate your existing setups first. Then comes Step 2, defining your business case and strategy. This is where you pull together a dedicated team to run some heavy simulations. They need you to figure out exactly how this cloud shift is going to impact security, scalability, and of course, costs. We actually need to clone and test environments to prove that this move is a financially and technically sound decision. Now, what's super interesting here is that the biggest compatibility risks usually get exposed during this initial assessment. Just imagine uncovering that critical parts of your business are actually running on ancient systems from the 70s, 80s, or 90s. We're talking Windows 95, or maybe some outdated COBOL code. You literally cannot just copy and paste that into a modern cloud architecture. It won't work. Evaluating these legacy systems right up front is what prevents fatal compatibility crashes when you actually make the jump. And as we're hammering out that strategy in Step 2, we inevitably hit the major legal hurdles and compliance risks. Think about it. If your physical data centers are sitting in India right now, but your new cloud provider's servers are based in the US, you are suddenly crossing international borders with your data. Are you moving highly sensitive children's data? What about changing tax regulations? You cannot legally move a single byte without a rock-solid strategy for navigating these regulatory landmines. Moving right along to Phase 2, select and plan, it's time to pick our new digital home and map out exactly how the moving trucks are going to get there. This phase brings us to Step 3 and Step 4. Step 3 is selecting the actual cloud provider. You're evaluating the heavy hitters here: Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud. You've got to carefully weigh their annual pricing, their infrastructure, and their tools against that specific strategy we just talked about. Once your provider is officially locked in, Step 4 kicks off. Plan the migration. This is where you draft a highly specific, totally meticulous roadmap for the physical transfer. A massive part of that roadmap relies entirely on timing. If you look at daily application usage, you'll see why you absolutely must avoid migrating during those huge spikes in user traffic. Instead, you've got to find that off-peak dip, the sweet spot where the fewest users are online. Scheduling your migration precisely during this quiet little window ensures you aren't disrupting your active users while all that critical data is in transit. Step 4 also demands some really meticulous asset mapping. You can't just grab everything from your local server and dump into a random cloud folder hoping for the best. Everything gets a specific destination. Your local SQL database gets deliberately routed over to AWS RDS. Your media, things like images and videos, they have a dedicated home in AWS S3 storage. Your backend code, whether that's PHP or Python, gets mapped directly to AWS Elastic Beanstalk. Every single file needs a designated parking spot before moving day. All right, Phase 3, migrate the workload. The real heavy lifting of our digital relocation finally begins right here. Step 5 is the physical and digital execution. We are actively migrating the workload. This means taking all that carefully mapped data and actually transferring it. Just picture this for a second, securely transferring the contents of an entire physical data center in Delhi all the way across the world to cloud servers in California, and doing it flawlessly during those exact predetermined off-peak hours we found earlier. But how do you actually pull that off safely? Moving outside your local firewalls is incredibly risky. Well, that's exactly why you use services like AWS Snowball. Think of it as a massively secure, heavily armored digital truck for your data. When you're transferring huge amounts of sensitive info across the globe, it uses specialized physical storage devices, fortified with heavy encryption and virtual private networks. It practically guarantees that absolutely zero data gets lost, corrupted, or intercepted by hackers during that massive transit. Finally, Phase 4, validate and optimize. But hey, strong warning here. The absolutely crucial point is you cannot shut down your old legacy house just yet. Which brings us to our final essential steps. Step 6 is to validate the migration. This means running a parallel clone app to rigorously test stability and verify that everything is working perfectly. Only when we are 100% certain do we pull the trigger on Step 7, optimize and modernize. That's where we start upgrading the tech stack for maximum efficiency in its new cloud home. Let's look a bit closer at the validation protocol in Step 6. Your old on-premises servers have to remain fully active while a clone of your app runs on the cloud. You have to aggressively stress test it, push it with way more load than it ever saw locally just to be totally sure the cloud won't buckle during peak hours. Plus, you've got to verify compliance. Like, if you handle financial data, you must rigorously ensure PCI DSS compliance. You have to guarantee that credit card data is absolutely bulletproof and that there are zero transaction delays compared to your old system. And then, once validation is flawless, we optimize. Because simply existing on the cloud isn't the real goal, leveraging its full power is. Step 7 is where you start adopting cool tools like serverless technology, something like AWS Lambda. By modernizing your app with a serverless architecture, the cloud automatically manages resource allocation for you behind the scenes. If a sudden surge of users logs on out of nowhere, the system just instantly and effortlessly scales up to handle it. True optimization means really obsessing over those performance metrics. Imagine you have a 3-second transaction window. If you're migrating a massive payment app like Paytm or Google Pay, and a transaction took 3 seconds on your old local servers, but it still takes 3 seconds on the cloud, well, you haven't actually gained the cloud advantage. True optimization means configuring your new setup to push speeds even faster, dramatically slashing those transaction times. We do this to seriously enhance the end customer experience. It is only when the app is visibly faster, securely compliant, and seamlessly scalable that you can finally pull the plug on those old legacy servers. And there you have it, the complete 7-step journey from a clunky legacy system to a modernized cloud powerhouse. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a provocative thought. How would you design a migration for a financial app? Challenge yourself. Try applying this exact 7-step blueprint to your next interview case study. Walk them through how you'd assess legacy code, map the strategy, secure the data with tools like Snowball, and optimize the whole thing with serverless tech. You now have the exact framework to dissect incredibly complex real-world cloud architecture. Keep applying these concepts structurally, and you're going to master any tech challenge they throw at you. Thanks for learning with me on this explainer.